Ravana stood upon the frozen peak of Mount Kailash, his 10 heads fixed in a silent, unwavering gaze toward the heavens. He had spent centuries in absolute stillness, a monument of flesh and will. His body was surrounded by a ring of sacrificial fire that scorched the very earth, turning the mountain stone to ash. When Lord Shiva finally manifested, the air vibrated with a divine resonance that shook the stars. Ravana bowed low, his 20 arms folded in deep reverence. Shiva, moved by such singular devotion, presented him with the Atma Linga. "This stone contains the essence of my power," Shiva declared, his voice like rolling thunder across the peaks. Ravana clutched the cold black stone to his chest and began his descent, his heavy stride shaking the mountains. High above, the Devas watched in terror, their faces pale with the realization of what was to come. They knew that if the Linga reached Lanka, Ravana would become invincible, a god among mortals. Desperate, they descended to the forest of Gokarna, where Ganesha sat waiting. The elephant god shifted his form, becoming a simple, unassuming shepherd boy standing by the sea. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, painting the Gokarna coast in shades of blood orange and deep violet, Ravana felt the weight of his evening rituals pressing upon his soul. He was a king, but also a devotee, and he could not perform the sacred rites while holding the stone. He spotted the boy and descended from the sky, his 10 mouths forming a single booming command. "Boy, hold this for a moment," Ravana commanded, thrusting the linga into the child's small hands. "I must perform my prayers. Do not let it touch the ground, no matter what happens." The boy looked up, his eyes steady and ancient. "I will call your name 3 times, the boy replied calmly. "If you do not return by the 3rd call, I shall set it down." Ravana turned his back, confident in his speed, and waded into the crashing surf. His focus narrowed to his prayers, the world around him fading. The boy waited until the silence of the beach grew heavy. "Ravana," he called out, his voice clear and sharp. The king did not turn, lost in his mantra. "Ravana," he repeated, louder this time, the name echoing off the salt-sprayed rocks. The king remained motionless in the water, his pride blinding him to the passage of seconds. "Ravana!" The 3rd call shattered the air, echoing against the high cliffs. With a deliberate, slow movement, the boy lowered his arms. The linga struck the earth with a sound like a cracking mountain, and a shockwave of golden light erupted from the spot, blinding the very horizon. Ravana spun around, his 20 eyes wide with the sudden, horrific realization of his mistake. He sprinted across the sand, a blur of golden armor and fury. He grabbed the linga with all 20 hands, his massive muscles bulging like coiled serpents. His feet dug deep trenches into the sand as he pulled with a strength that had toppled kingdoms. He roared at the sky, his veins straining against his skin, but the stone remained unmoved. It had become part of the planet's core, anchored by the very divine law Shiva had spoken. In a fit of blind, helpless rage, he gripped the top of the stone and twisted with all his might. The air screamed as he shattered the outer casing of the sacred object. Pieces of the divine stone flew into the air like shrapnel, landing across the distant landscape. He pulled until the earth itself groaned, but the foundation held fast. The boy had vanished, leaving only the mocking silence of the ocean and the smell of ozone in the air. Ravana stood panting, his power slipping through his fingers like the very sand beneath his feet. The great king of Lanka stood defeated by a moment of distraction. He had conquered worlds and defied gods, yet he had lost the ultimate prize because he could not master his own circumstances. It stands as a reminder to all who pass that even the greatest strength is rendered useless without the discipline to guard it. The waves continue to wash over the shore, but the stone never moves, a silent witness to the day a king's ambition was anchored to the earth. Ravana looked one last time at the horizon, his silhouette dark against the fading light, before beginning his long, empty journey back to his golden city, leaving his heart's desire behind in the dust.